Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I'm always on the lookout for interesting businesses, and I came across a young lady who's got, I think, just a fascinating one. Her name is Ilona Koziol. She is a Toronto-based real estate developer, and she's the co-founder of Ready Developments. Ready, R-E-D-I, specializes in single-family home conversions into 8 boutique apartment buildings in the city of Toronto. She's also a co-host of a monthly virtual real estate investing, education, and networking meetup called Level Up. Ilona, how are you? Welcome to our show.
I'm very well, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell me, how did you get involved in taking houses and converting them into boutique apartments?
Yeah, it actually started about a year ago when COVID hit. And as you are obviously aware of, a lot of people at that time were losing their jobs, me included. So my background's actually, I was in corporate sales prior to COVID. And right before I got laid off, actually a couple of weeks before COVID hit, I joined an investor network, and 3 weeks later I got laid off. So as a single mom of 2 boys, I knew that something needed to be done. So I went on and started networking with this investment group of people. And I've always had a passion for real estate. Prior to joining this network, I was investing in some pre-construction homes and doing some private lending, but I did want to get more on the active side of development. So I started my search. I was now unemployed, as you know, I'm sure many of your listeners were in the beginning of COVID. And I started to explore the options of investing in real estate and how I can get more on the active side of real estate. So I did some exploration through my networking, and there's a 100 ways or more to invest in real estate, and I just was always passionate about development. So I narrowed down my search by realizing what my strengths were and what I could bring to the table, and I started looking for a partnership. So I ended up finding a partner through this real estate network that has an extensive background in construction and building. And I started to realize where my skills would lend themselves in that partnership and that business. And we just kind of found this niche in Toronto of finding these single family homes and turning them into 8-unit apartment buildings.
How is a home big enough to have 8 different boutique apartments in it?
Well, we're really in the west end of Toronto. High Park area. So these older homes are already bigger, like 3,000 square feet and up. And what we do is we add usually a substantial addition in the back, including underpinning. So we basically, if you think about it, it's 2 units per floor. So in the basement, we'll have two units, the first floor, second floor, and third floor. And if the home doesn't have a third floor, then we'll go ahead and build on top of that second story to allow for those extra units on the top.
Amazing. And so you're a general contractor, a renovator, as well as a real estate investor.
Yeah, we do have a team. I can't say that I'm a general contractor. We do have a general contractor on our team. And he handles the trades and makes sure everything is going according to schedule and according to budget. So yeah. But we do manage the projects and, find the projects and see them through all the way.
And do you condoize these or do you rent them out?
We rent them out. So it's a buy and hold strategy. Yeah.
So you're a landlord as well?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Well, it's amazing that you sort of created this business and it was COVID-19 and getting laid off that created the opportunity to, or the threat or the need to get this business underway.
Definitely. Yeah. It was a huge push in that direction. And I think, as scary as it is getting laid off, and it's such a life-changing event for most people, I think once you see the opportunities, which they're everywhere, and you're able to grab a hold of the opportunity, then the possibilities are endless.
We're chatting tonight with Ilona Koziol, who has just recently launched a business where she's buying single family homes and converting them into 6 and 8 boutique apartments. It's a fascinating opportunity. And like a lot of people I've spoken with, it was really the pandemic and getting laid off, something negative, that was the catalyst for her creating this new business opportunity. Fascinating. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back more with Ilona in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. We're chatting tonight with Ilona Koziol, who is a fascinating entrepreneur, because what she did is she got laid off and lost her job, and the pandemic hit. And she decided to launch a business, and she'd always been interested in the real estate development business. And so what she did with a partner is she launched a real estate development company called Ready Developments, which specializes in taking single family homes and converting them into 6 to 8 boutique apartment buildings in the city of Toronto. Fascinating. Ilona, tell us, walk us through, how do you do this? So you buy a single family home in the older part of Toronto, it takes, that's big, that could be developed into separate apartments. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. So what we do is we try to find homes that have already a pretty large footprint. Typically over 3,000 feet is kind of that sweet spot for us. And it has to be in the correct zoning. So we're looking for an R zoning, which means it's residential. However, you're actually able to build an apartment building on that lot if you so choose to. Because Toronto is, needing that density, they kind of went ahead and rezoned a couple of key spots in the city. And so we only go after those spots, and we work with a team of brokers and realtors, and they already kind of know what we are looking for. So they are able to bring us these larger lots with these larger homes in order for us to be able to pretty much execute on these large builds of 8 units. So, and
then each apartment is what, a single, a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio or what?
Yeah, it really depends on how many bedrooms we can fit. We typically like to do 2 bedrooms at least, because there's more of a need for that in Toronto. As you probably can imagine, there's a lot of bachelor and 1-bedroom units existing. So really we're gearing this to somebody that maybe has kids, or maybe wants to work from home and use that 2nd bedroom kind of as an office. And
are you gutting the whole inside of the house?
That's correct. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not keeping the living room or the dining room or anything. You're completely gutting the inside.
Yeah, because we're changing the entire floor plans. We're getting rid of all the systems. We're getting rid of the plumbing, the electrical. We're redoing. Basically, all we're doing is keeping the shell of the existing structure, and everything from floor assemblies to framing to you name it it's brand new on the inside of the home.
And is there a common front door, or does everyone have their own front door?
Everybody has to have their own exit. So there's a common door for the entrance. And so the one that I'll show you that we're working on now, which is Oakmount, it will have a common entrance, and then everybody will have sort of a hallway into their own unit as they would in an apartment building. And then in the back of the house, it'll actually have exits off decks as well.
Exits off decks. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So by law, you have to have 2 means of egress for each unit. So what we try to do is split the home kind of left to right, and then have units going all the way down the house, so that's like they can benefit from the front of the house and the back of the house.
Right.
And because they need those exit stairs in case of an emergency or a fire, we like to put a deck in the back as extra living space, which, then doubles as that emergency exit for them as well.
Well, it sounds fascinating. How many of you of these renovations have you done?
We're on the 3rd project, and we're just closing on that next week, actually. And one of them is our Oakmount project. I'll be sharing a photo of right now, and this particular project was our first, so it's kind of my baby.
Yep.
And also quite beautiful. So we're really trying to preserve as much of the facade as possible, because these homes are in, nice neighborhoods, and they're very appealing to families and to young professionals that maybe don't want to live in a high-rise building and have kind of that, walkability of these nice neighborhoods and streets and such. So we will, as you can see, we will have, we'll try to keep as much of this front as possible. And it looks like just a big, a big single family home on the outside. So that's not going to change.
Right.
However, on the interior, like I said, all of the interior is going to be ripped out, and we'll have new floor plans and new units inside.
Fascinating. So you completely rip out the inside and build new and expand out the back, it appears too.
Correct. So in this particular project, we actually tore down the complete back side of the home in order to facilitate that additional almost 2,000 square foot addition, in addition to the walkouts from the basement. So we actually go and underpin the basement, which means you're just digging out and digging out the basement and pouring more foundation on the existing foundation underneath of it, so that you can get extra ceiling height in the basement. So we do like 8 to 9 foot ceilings in the basement as well. And throughout the house, we try to keep those ceiling heights pretty high. So it's quite a mess while we're doing construction, and the whole house is empty, and really it's just a big construction site.
Now you presumably have to go for building permit approvals, but because you're getting the R zoning, you don't need any zoning approvals?
The zoning's already there, so we don't actually have to go for a zoning amendment. It's zoned for multi-units.
Right.
What we have to go for is minor variances with the city. So we do have to go in front of the Committee of Adjustments.
And how have they been receiving you? And what about neighbors? What do they think of you?
The committee has been, Toronto is in need of rental housing. So for the most part, we've had a good time with the city to date. They've been pretty on board with what we're doing. However, there's always nuances and things you have to stay within the guidelines of, and that sort of thing. And as far as neighbors, it really depends on where you are. We haven't had any complaints from neighbors. Our general contractor does an amazing job of, keeping the job site clean and being friendly and respecting work hours and that sort of thing. So I think there's a mutual understanding with us and the neighbors, with what we're trying to do for the city, number one. And they know that we're going to deliver a beautiful product at the end of the day.
Will each one of these units look similar inside? Similar layout and similar sort of combination of bedrooms and regular rooms?
Yeah, so we try to keep the floor plans uniform per project, just so that we can line up. It's a little bit easier to line up plumbing and all that stuff. So most of them will have 2 bedrooms and the kitchen's in the same spot. We try to keep all of the layouts similar to each other, just for building and kitchen sizes and ordering materials and all of that sort of stuff. It just becomes a little bit easier for us to be able to do those things.
And so this would be a 6-bedroom, 6-unit condo conversion.
8, yeah, 8 units.
8. So you've added a 3rd floor as well.
Correct. So a lot of these older homes have kind of a loft on the 3rd floor. And what we do is we just extend it back. So once the extension is put in, we just extend the entire floor plans to the back of the home. So they're all exactly the same layout.
Fascinating. And you say you've done how many of them?
3. So
3.
Well, 2 of them are in construction and 1 we're closing on next week.
So you haven't actually finished one yet?
Nope.
I look forward to it. And when do you rent up? Once done, or do you rent in process?
Yeah, so we'll finish up the entire building, and after we are finished the building, then we'll go ahead and start leasing up all the units once they're brand new and fresh and beautiful.
I look forward to seeing it sometime when it's completed.
Yeah, I'll have to come baback on and show it to you.
That sounds exciting. What a quite the business opportunity that you've created for yourself. And you said that it's interesting that you can create new opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, I think that once you realize that you are the creator of your own destiny, the possibilities are endless. I'm a firm believer in the fact that your thoughts become your reality, and you're really in control of your life and what that looks like. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been studying my mind for 3 years, and that's really what helped me and built that foundation for me to be able to have the faith, in myself and in the universe, or God, and people call it all different things, but at the end of the day, we are the creators of our own reality, and there's no limits to what
We are the creators of our own reality.
Mhm.
How did you come across such a positive outlook on life?
uh I it's a good question. I had some challenging times a couple of years ago, and I really started to study what these people are doing that are finding such fulfillment and success in their lives, not just financially, but I just really wanted to be happy. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's never really about money. It's never about what we have in material things. It's about how we feel and growth. And life is a journey, and I really just started to read and find mentors through even YouTube and meditation and reading and all those sorts of materials. And I've just been soaking it up like a sponge, and it's proven to be the truth. And those are
What were
the
the challenging times? Can you share that with us at all?
yeah, I went through a difficult separation 3 years ago, and 3 years ago I was not even working. I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, and at the time I didn't feel like I had any worth to even get a part-time job. So I knew I needed to change that in my mind, because if I didn't see value in myself, I knew nobody would, but I wasn't used to feeling valued. So that perception of myself was not serving me. So I had to change that.
Do you think that you're a different person today than you were 3 or 4 years ago?
100%. Yeah.
Really, that's fascinating. And it's come from this changed attitude, and you're learning about. I guess it's some people call this manifesting, but this sort of that your thoughts become your reality.
Yeah. I think that, you know, it's an awareness. I think that comes. So am I a different person? I mean, I'm still Ilona. It's still me. I have a new awareness, I think, and I've seen the changes that are possible, um, given the type of discipline that you have to work on your mindset. It's like working out your body. And I feel that, people are stuck in their paradigm of their beliefs and their upbringing and things that they think are achievable for them. And it's quite unfortunate to see sometimes, but I think sometimes it takes a pivotal moment in your life, like a separation or being laid off, in order for you to pivot and change that perspective. And sometimes it's just a matter of reading a new book, or hearing something on the internet, and that can really change the direction of your life.
So if someone else was going through a difficult separation or a loss of a job or some other difficult life experience, and they wanted to change their paradigm, given your experience, what would you recommend to them?
um yeah, I think that I would recommend just quieting the mind. I think is very important. Meditation, but also just searching out for those books and materials and things that are positive, because I think that when you fill you know your mind with positive thoughts, it's very hard to feel grateful and angry at the same time. So we can actually choose our own thoughts, and it takes 17 seconds to change the direction of your thought. So if you can be mindful of what you're thinking about, are you thinking about, man, my life is hard, or this is super stressful, or how am I going to pay the bills, or I'm in all this debt, though you're perpetuating those things in your life. So everybody has something to be grateful for. And I try to start my day with a gratitude practice, and it's been really life-changing for me.
What's a gratitude practice?
So just writing down 10 things that I'm grateful for every day, and just feeling them and reading them, and meditating, and just quieting my mind, and just connecting. I call it source or universe, or some people pray to God. Just quieting your mind before you start the day gives you kind of a fresh approach.
And you said that 3 or 4 years ago, you didn't have a sense that you had any worth.
Correct. Yeah. So it's fascinating how the people around you set the tone, for your life and your attitude as well. So I'm very grateful. I'm surrounded by wonderful, wonderful people. And I know that that was through attracting them into my life. And, they see the value, and they see the value in me, and they see sometimes more value than I see in myself. So changing, your network and the people that are around you to supportive ones is pivotal as well.
Sounds like you've gone through a real metamorphosis, a real transformation. What do your parents or your friends or even your ex-husband think about you now versus a couple of years ago?
I think that people have been so gracious, and they see the change and growth. People say you're so driven, or how did you do this? And I think they also see that I'm in a different part of my life today than I was, and I think that it all there's a place and a time for everything. I was being a mom. I was at home for 7 years, and they knew me as that person, and now they see me as somebody else. But my values never changed. So I still have a lot of the same friends that I did when I was a stay-at-home mom, and felt all those ways. But they see the growth, and they see, the quote unquote success, I guess. And I think it's inspiring to them. And that's really what I love to do, is inspire other people through my story. Because if I can do it, and, I didn't have a job for 7 years, and I felt like I could never get one, to living my passion today, I think anybody could do it.
It's a wonderful story. It's an inspiring story. And thank you for sharing it with us. And I do think that you're a great example for people that go through challenging times. And whether it's the 3 year ago separation or the year ago pandemic and losing the job, it seems to me like you are living your passion. And so thank you for sharing that story and that journey with us.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for having me today.
Well, that's been a fascinating conversation with Ilona Koziol, who has really created a brand new kind of business, taking old homes and converting them into 8-unit apartment buildings in the old city of Toronto. And at the same time is manifesting her destiny, is finding her passion, is living a life of gratitude, etc. It sounds fascinating. So we'll have to check back with her in a couple of months to see how opening up this new condominium works out. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Brian.